Welcome to the Prescott Lab Podcast, not just theory, practical science for everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, a physician and integrative medicine researcher at the Ravenshade Institute for Human Health. Let me begin with something bold. Death doesn't begin in the heart. It begins in the penis. Yes, I said it. And no, it's not shock value, it's the truth most doctors are too timid to speak aloud. You see, when morning erections fade, when your feet go cold, when something inside feels gone, that's not just age creeping in. That's your circulatory system whispering, I'm struggling. And for men over 60, that whisper becomes a warning. The real tragedy, most ignore it, or worse, medicate it. But what if I told you your comeback could begin not with a pill, but with your plate? In this episode, I'm going to walk you through 5 powerful breakfast foods. Not superfoods, not trends. Just humble, time-tested nutrition that can reignite blood flow, restore pelvic strength, and bring sensation back to the place you thought had gone silent. One of them is likely in your fridge right now. Another one mimics the effects of Viagra without a single pill. And the last one, let's just say it's the mineral-rich root that made one of my 70-year-old patients ditch his walking cane. But before we begin, a word to the men watching this. If you care about staying strong, connected, and capable in this second half of life, go ahead and tap that like button. Not just to support the channel, though it helps us reach more men like you, but because I truly believe this. Men who choose to nourish themselves first thing in the morning tend to get exactly what they're seeking: strength, clarity, and a spark of unexpected fortune. So go ahead, hit that like. May your health rise with it, may your energy return, and may this be the beginning of a better morning. And if anything in this episode speaks to you personally, leave a comment. I read every single one. This space is yours too. Now let's talk about where true healing starts. Not in your doctor's office, but in your kitchen. Let's begin. 1 whole eggs, power before coffee. Let me tell you about Gerald, 68 years old, retired electrician from Michigan. He walked into my office one morning with a quiet stare, not angry, not sad, just absent. He said, "Doc, I don't know how to say this, but I don't feel like a man anymore." Not because of something specific, just this dull, persistent sense that his body had gone quiet, especially down there. And when I asked him what he ate for breakfast, he just shrugged. "Coffee, maybe a cracker if my wife reminds me." That's not breakfast, that's fasting disguised as routine. And for a man in his 60s, that kind of neglect isn't just lazy, it's dangerous. Because when your body wakes up after a night of fasting, it's primed to rebuild. And if you give it nothing, it builds nothing. I told Gerald to start with 2 whole eggs, not egg whites, not some fancy powder in a shaker bottle. The real thing, yolk and all, soft-boiled, scrambled, doesn't matter. What matters is consistency. Every single morning. You see, that golden yolk isn't just cholesterol. It's one of the most compact, bioavailable sources of nutrients men over 60 are quietly starving for. Vitamin D to boost testosterone. Vitamin B12 to create red blood cells and carry oxygen. Choline to strengthen nerve signaling, especially in the pelvic floor. Leucine to repair and grow the deep muscles that support erections, bladder control, and lower body strength. These are not vanity muscles, these are your foundation muscles. And when they begin to weaken silently over years, what follows is the slow fade of morning erections, the creeping fatigue in your legs, the disconnection from your sense of power. But it can be rebuilt, and whole eggs are one of the simplest ways to begin. Gerald was skeptical, but he followed the plan. 2 eggs every morning, before coffee, before news, before the day got loud. 3 weeks later, he left a voicemail. His voice had energy again. He said, "Doc, I didn't expect much, but this morning I felt something, and I smiled. I hadn't smiled like that in years." That's what this is about, not miracle cures. Not overnight transformations. Just giving your body what it's been begging for and watching what it does with the right tools. So tomorrow morning, before the coffee hits your lips, crack 2 eggs. Not because you're chasing some perfect diet, But because your manhood, your circulation, and your energy deserve to be fed, whole eggs aren't breakfast. They're rebuilding. 2. Oatmeal and chia, clearing the pipes. After you've given your body the rich proteins and nutrients from eggs, there's a second step most men forget: clearing the path. Because no matter how much testosterone your body tries to make, if your arteries are clogged, none of it reaches the places that matter. Let me introduce you to Stanley. He's 73, a retired history teacher from Virginia. Quiet, disciplined, used to doing things the traditional way. He told me, "Doc, I still get up at 6 a.m. sharp, but everything else about my body feels slow. My legs, my mind, and definitely down there." I asked him what he ate. He sighed. "Cereal and milk, the sweet kind." I said, "Let's try something your arteries can actually work with." That's where oatmeal and chia seeds come in. Now before I go further, let me pause because I know what some of you are already thinking. In fact, I can almost hear the comments now. "Dr. Prescott, won't oatmeal spike my blood sugar? And chia seeds, aren't they just a fad?" Let me answer that right now. No, when prepared properly, old-fashioned oats are low glycemic. They release energy slowly, and more importantly, they contain beta-glucan, a unique fiber that binds to cholesterol and gently helps remove it from your body. And chia seeds, they're not a trend. They're loaded with omega-3s, magnesium, and potassium, nutrients that relax blood vessels, reduce inflammation, and lubricate your circulation like oil in an engine. So what did Stanley do? He swapped his cereal for a warm bowl of oats, stirred in a spoonful of chia seeds, added a pinch of cinnamon and a few blueberries. That's it, nothing fancy, just real food. 3 weeks in, he called me. "Doc," he said, "I woke up before the alarm, took a walk. And something else happened this morning, too." He didn't have to say it, I could hear it in his voice. You see, you don't feel plaque building up, it doesn't scream. It just quietly slows your blood down year after year, until one day everything feels heavy, dull, disconnected. But oats and chia, they don't force change, they invite it, they open the vessels, they let blood move again. So tomorrow morning, right after your eggs, give your arteries something to smile about. One bowl, one scoop, one quiet act of healing. And if you're still skeptical, leave a comment, ask me your question, I'll answer because that's why we're here. 3. Watermelon, nature's bedroom gift. There's something almost innocent about watermelon. Bright red, juicy, sweet. For most of us, it's a picnic fruit, a childhood memory. But for older men, it's far more than that. It's one of the most underrated tools for blood flow, sensitivity, and reawakening the very core of manhood. Take Lawrence, for example. He was 70, a retired pilot. Steady hands, calm voice, but he confessed something that shook even him. "I haven't felt any warmth in my pelvis in over a year. It's like the switch is off. Cold, numb." He had tried supplements, even prescriptions. But nothing truly stirred. That's when I handed him a sheet of paper. On it was one word: watermelon, not because it's hydrating, not because it's delicious, but because watermelon contains L-citrulline, an amino acid that converts into L-arginine, which then boosts nitric oxide production, the same biological pathway that drugs like Viagra rely on. Nitric oxide tells your blood vessels to relax and expand. It opens the gates. And when blood flows freely, warmth returns, function returns, hope returns. I told Lawrence to eat a few slices each morning on an empty stomach. But more importantly, I told him not to throw away the rind. That pale green-white layer most people toss out, that's where citrulline concentration is highest. He started blending it into a smoothie, nothing fancy. Just watermelon flesh, rind, and a little mint. 2 weeks later, I got a handwritten note. He said, "Doc, something shifted. My mornings feel alive again. I didn't expect much, but it's real. Something coming back." This isn't about magic fruit. This is about biology. This is about using what nature already gave you to do what your body still wants to do. And don't underestimate the simple power of that sweetness. Watermelon hydrates your muscles. It provides quick energy without spiking blood sugar. And it sends a message, a quiet but clear one, to your body. that you're not done. That you still believe blood should move, sensation should exist, and intimacy still matters. So tomorrow morning, after your eggs and oats, slice some watermelon. Eat it slowly. Blend the rind if you're serious. Because sometimes the most powerful medicine is the one that makes you smile. 4. Sweet potato and salt, the morning reset. The first time I mentioned sweet potatoes to Marvin, he chuckled. "Doc," he said, "I thought you were gonna tell me about testosterone injections or some fancy supplement." The potato. Marvin is 71, retired plumber, big hands, tired eyes. He came in complaining about something most men don't talk about. Heavy legs, he said, and this strange tension in my lower body. Like something stuck right in the center. I looked at him carefully, not just his chart but his posture, his breathing. And I asked, "What do you eat first thing in the morning?" He paused, "Water, then coffee. Maybe a banana if I remembers." So I told him something simple, not a fix, not a cure, just a reset. Half a steamed sweet potato, a pinch of Celtic sea salt, and a glass of warm water first thing before anything else. He squinted like I was pulling his leg, but he trusted me, and what happened next caught even him off guard. 3 days later, he called not with questions but with energy. He said, "Doc, I got out of bed without holding the dresser. My legs did ache, and my lower half it felt awake." You see, sweet potatoes are packed with slow-release carbs that restore muscle fuel without spiking blood sugar. They're rich in potassium and magnesium, two minerals that help ease pelvic tension and support nerve signaling. But it's the Celtic salt that completes the picture. Unlike table salt, Celtic salt is unrefined and loaded with over 80 trace minerals. As we age, our bodies lose fluid faster. Our nervous systems get more fragile. That's why so many older men wake up with cramps, stiffness, or that numb sensation in the groin they can't explain. But when you rehydrate your cells with mineral-rich foods like this combo, you don't just feel better. You feel grounded, present, capable. And I know some of you listening might be thinking, could something this simple really help me? Well, let me ask you this in return. What if it does? What if tomorrow morning you felt 5% better? Would it be worth it? Would you try it again? Would you leave a comment and let me know what shifted? Because that's how healing often starts, not with proof but with curiosity. So here's your invitation. Before your day begins, before the noise, steam a sweet potato. Add that tiny pinch of Celtic salt. No sugar, no syrup. Just real fuel, and listen to your body. You might be surprised what it says back. 5. The 60-minute rule. Begin before life gets loud. Let me be honest with you, most men who hear this, they nod and never start, not because they don't care, but because they're waiting for the right day, the right feeling, the right burst of motivation. But by the time that perfect morning arrives, it's often months too late. I saw it happen with Frederick. He was 74, a retired firefighter, still had wide shoulders, but something in his voice had collapsed. He said, "I used to charge into burning buildings. Now I struggle to get out of bed." I gave him the same plan I'm giving you now. Eggs, oats, watermelon, sweet potatoes, real food, nothing fancy. Before he walked out, I looked him in the eye and said, "Fred, don't wait for your body to feel ready. It's already waiting for you." Here's the truth. Your body doesn't need motivation. It needs consistency. Your arteries don't care if you're in the mood, they care that you show up. That first hour after waking, it's gold. Your muscles are hungry. Your blood vessels are open. Your nerves are tuned in. If you skip that window, or worse, fill it with coffee, sugar, and stress, you waste the best moment of the day to rebuild. So let me challenge you, don't aim for perfect. Don't plan out your next 30 days, just pick one food from what you've heard so far. One thing, 2 eggs, 1 bowl of oats, a slice of watermelon, half a sweet potato. Make it your habit tomorrow morning, before the noise. Before your phone, before the world reaches in and steals your attention, give your body 10 quiet minutes. That's it. And if you do, your circulation will notice. Your energy will notice. And somewhere deep down, the part of you that's been waiting for a comeback will stir again. Because you're not broken, you're not done, you're just waiting to begin. And it starts not someday, but tomorrow morning. 6. Conclusion. Your next act begins at breakfast. After all these years working with men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, I've come to believe one thing above all else. Your body is always listening. It remembers how you treat it in the first moments of the day. It doesn't ask for perfection, just attention. And when you choose to feed it with foods that restore blood flow, rebuild muscle, and awaken nerve signals, something begins to shift. Not overnight, not like magic, but like a fire that catches at last because someone finally struck the right match. You've heard me talk about eggs, oats, watermelon, sweet potato, but you know what matters more than any of those? That you believe you're still worth the effort. Because the men who change, the ones who rebuild, recover, reconnect, they don't do it because their lives are easy. They do it because something deep down refuses to be written off. So if you're still watching, I want to say this directly to you. I see that part of you, the part that wants more energy, more clarity, more connection. That's not weakness, that's courage. And if you felt that spark anywhere in today's video, even for a moment, then tap the like button, not for me, for you, as a signal to your body, to your future, to say, I'm still here, I still choose to rise. Leave a comment if you're starting this journey, even if it's just one food. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. Because I promise you what's coming next will keep building what we've started today. Let this be your new beginning. Not with guilt, not with pressure, but with belief, because strength can return, confidence can grow, and blood can flow again right where you need it most. All of it begins at breakfast. All of it begins with you.